Hey everyone, it's Ross from Mythic Mountains RPG Play Club. I wanted to briefly update everyone that follows this channel and watches our actual plays. We're going to try to begin doing something a little different with a new format. As you know, this channel is dedicated to what we call folk role-playing games. Part of that is to keep the play at the table that we do online sacred in first place and raw. There's no performances, nothing fancy. And for some people that watch this table play, that can still be entertaining, but that's never been exactly its primary purpose. Rather, these actual plays serve as like an artifact to show people playing the game in a raw format without a lot of thought given to facing the audience or performances. Going forward, what I want to try to do is improve our videos, at least a little. And the hope I have in that is that these artifacts of play could be seen by more people. There are channels out there that do things like this, but I really enjoy sharing what I feel like are unique and niche games. And I want people to know about them and to see that they are actually played and how they might be played. The session you're about to watch is our ongoing Mausritter campaign, ran by our game master Birdie, and we've had a lot of fun with Mausritter. And as always, the channel is not monetized. There's no Patreon or anything like that. But this time, and I think from now on, I'll ask that if you're willing, like, subscribe, and share, because I think more people should know about this awesome game and how a group of people can play it in practice. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy. Mausritter by Isaac Williams at Losing Games is a role-playing game about tiny mice that must brave a world of towering trees, forests of grass, giant houses, and slimy snake holes in search for treasure and alliances to help their mouse community. Welcome to our adventures. We play the role of heroic mice set in the world of Poppy by Avi. The mice of Greyhouse are suffering and threatened by the owl, Mr. Oldcox. Can we find a way to settle them into a new home? Or will we perish under the claws of the powerful beasts that prowl the Dimwood forest? Stick around to find out.
We wandered into the woods. We saw the blue jays and we were talking to them for a second because we told them that we were here to talk to the gatekeeper. And then just a few moments later, we saw the gatekeeper swooping in on the back of a bird. And then that's where we ended it. And we have Buckthorn and Cattail with us as we convinced Cattail to join along to look for bats and Buckthorn to help with the Hatfield and McCoy's situation going on.
Yeah.
All
I need
right.
to talk to you.
Okay, so starting off in where is that one? What's this one? Yep. All right. So today we start out in this tree, and you were waiting to see if you could meet up with your gatekeeper that you had set up the appointment with. And as you're sitting in the tree, I think it was afternoon, if I remember right. Yeah. Early afternoon. You see him flying in on the back of a blue jay. And the jay lands down next to you and kind of sits there and eyes you for a second. His demeanor is a bit different than the other chatty jays you encountered. This one seems to be very serious, and for reasons unknown, it makes you a little nervous, as if he's sizing you up as he looks at you. The mouse hops off and does a little whistle, and the jay flies away to a nearby branch. He steps forward and kind of does a little head nod and says, "Hello. You are the little friends that I believe my blue jays told me about."
Your Blue Jays?
Oh, indeed. They are quite a useful bird, if I dare say. But before I share too much, I need to know more about you and what it is you wish to accomplish in our forest.
We were hoping to open up a trade with the Jayswood mice and hopefully barter better relations between Creekside and the Jayswood.
We also seek a creature. Our lands are threatened by an oppressive and evil owl called Mr. Olcox, and a strange prophet told us to come to these lands and that there would be a creature that would climb trees that would terrify him and drive him away.
Well, fair enough. It seems you have some things that you may wish of us, but what would you have in return that we may be interested in?
We agreed to get rid of all the squirrels.
I was gonna say.
Oh, that's true. Oh, yeah, that's true.
All the squirrels, you say?
Yeah.
Yes, we spoke to your blue jays, and they said that the squirrels harassed them to no end, and we felt sorry for the poor creatures, so we agreed to help.
Well, while we mice don't have much of an issue with the local squirrels typically, they have been more troublesome as of late, especially for our feathered friends. And a favor done for them is a favor done for us.
Why have the squirrels been more troublesome lately?
We are uncertain of that. There simply seem to be more of them here, and why, we are not sure. We do not have much dealings with squirrels, unless they attempt a raid on our humble town. But for our birds who are trying to store up food for the winter, it can be quite troublesome to have half your stash wiped out in a fortnight, and well, that's energy that they can't put towards their duties with the mouse town. So fair enough. If you can indeed fulfill this, then it may be worth information or consideration of some of your other requests. Now,
turn back to everybody else.
I can't simply bring you back to our town. So you have two choices. You can either prove your smarts through a test of a riddle for me, or you may prove your bravery through a test of skill.
Let's try the riddle, but
Yeah.
we may end up with the test of skill.
Because the riddle sounds obvious, but I'm just curious what the skill entails.
All right, well, we shall try a riddle first, and if you find it too hard, then you are welcome to try your chances
Oh, that's good.
at the other test. It can't be touched and can't be felt. It can't be seen or heard or smelt. It lies behind stars and under hills, and any empty hole it fills.
There's darkness.
Darkness.
Can you repeat it, please?
I don't think I can contribute.
It can't.
I think it would be metagaming.
It can't be felt. It can't be seen or heard or smelt. It
Oh,
lies behind stars and under hills, and an empty hole it fills.
space, emptiness.
So we had 2 answers for darkness so far.
Marigold likes darkness on principle, so she's
I'm
gonna vote for that.
assuming, by the way, that your mice are discussing this and that you haven't answered.
Yeah.
Unless
Right.
you want to see your mice
We're doing
answered.
the football
Yeah.
huddle.
You
kind
can
of
Family feud. Family feud rules.
you can see darkness.
Oh, that's right.
So
Can you, though?
Can you? You can
Oh
see
yeah, that's
black?
right. You
Yes.
can't because it's dark. I feel stupid now. I'm going with darkness. I didn't say any of
Darkness.
that.
Darkness sounds like the right sound of answer to me.
There was one of the mice we spoke to. Didn't they give us a hint though, as to what the answer might have been, or was that just?
He gave you a hint to what one of the riddles is.
Oh,
It
okay.
might not be this one because this one
Yeah,
sounds
'cause
more.
I wrote it down and I'm like, this doesn't match. So that's why I was kind of thinking like it might not have matched. Anyway,
All right.
darkness sounds good to me.
Yeah, it's about as close as I'm getting. Darkness.
Okay. So is that the answer you give to? I don't think did he give you? No, he didn't give you his name yet.
You know he's the gatekeeper. That's what we know him as.
Yes, that's what he goes by right now.
Yeah. I think so.
Okay. He hears your answer, and you see just like the hint of a smirk on his face, and he says, "Well, you are indeed as smart as they say you are." Most
Marigold's not
mice
real sure if she's been
struggle with the
insulted or not.
riddles. Now, I'll tell you what. We have 2 options. It is mid-afternoon, and by my guesses, unless you are staying in this forest, you are currently residing in the town of Creekside.
A fair assessment, yeah.
Well, I have 2 options. You may continue to reside in Creekside if that is where you are comfortable. And tomorrow morning I could, or tonight I could show you to Stumpville, but you are not allowed to share or spread word of how to enter the community to any mouse. Or, if you are willing, you are welcome to come and reside in our town. We do indeed have a place where our few visitors or adventurers sometimes stay, and you are more than welcome to come and stay in our town for however long you need.
Oliver is just gonna look at Jerry like as if he's the leader of the group. Like, oh, our hero, what do you think we should do? Should we stay with the wood mice or go back to Creekside?
Why am I suddenly the de facto leader now? I know.
You got the sword from the stones and slew a snake.
That's a pretty big deal.
It is a big deal.
We have come all this way. It seems kind of counterintuitive to go back, doesn't it?
I mean, it would help like our task quest here in the forest if we stayed at Creekside. It would help like garner more foster a relationship with the Jayswood mice. So I think it makes more sense probably to stay here for the time being until we get all our tasks done.
Plus, there might be more new Bat Cult members.
At this, with your decision to come, he asks if you need a guide there, or if you would be able to find the way if he were to mark it down on a map for you.
Hazel's gonna look at Pearl. Do you think
We're all gonna look at
Pearl?
Pearl.
Yeah.
I can find it. I could find it. I could find it. Show me.
Right.
I show my map.
Now, again, little mice, This is a secret. You are not to share this route or this map or this information with anyone, whether verbally or written. Is that understood?
I swear.
All right,
Hold up
then.
my paw.
Hazel's
And
gonna
he takes
promise not to share.
He takes Pearl's
Yes.
map and he marks this little spot. It's actually well into the forest. Though you're pretty sure you could get there before supper. And he says, "Now, I know you mentioned your fear of the owl. You need not worry about him during the daytime, as RJs are very capable of keeping him at bay. But if I were you, I would make sure you are sheltered at night, especially if you were being hunted by this foul bird." And he marks it on Pearl's map, and with that, he kind of nods, does his little whistle. Oh, and he turns and says, "Oh, by the way, my name is Twig. I will be meeting you at the gate to ensure that you are indeed the mice that I met with today. I assume I will see you sometime this afternoon or evening." And he hops on his bird and flies off.
I wave. Wow. That mouse rides a bird.
Amazing.
Oh, wow. You all said we had tasks to do? What tasks do we need to do back?
Get rid of the squirrels. I'm just trying to remember. Well, most of it is really just get trade agreements with the Jay's Wood, and also can just find like the climbing creatures. So we could look further into see where we could find squirrels, maybe how to figure out how to get rid of them. Work on that maybe a little bit before we head off to the Jay's Wood mice. But besides that, not sure if we have anything else. I think we have written here, we've to find the bat cave in Jay's Wood, or find where the bats are, essentially. But that might be a late time thing. I'm not sure if we're able to do that with Mr. Allcogs out. That's more after we get rid of him, we can do that.
Well, it sounds like some of these things run concurrent, in that meeting these mice. I mean, the whole reason we wanted to meet them was so that we could find out this information and to be able to help them. I don't know. They may have further services or information that could help us, unless there's something we could do to resolve one of these big things. Now, the bat cave, I think, is in their direction. If the directions are further into the forest, the bats flew in the direction of the forest, if I recall correctly. So
The bats flew to the north, according to the Creekside mice, and the direction he marked is if you enter Jay's Wood, you would travel to the
northeast,
east.
right? Oh, east. Okay.
So they are, if you travel parallel to the swamp, not directly parallel to the swamp, not right alongside it, but let's see if I can doodle the map. Let's see if I can find a good color red to show up well. Okay, so we have our lovely little marsh. Not so little if you're a mouse. And we had Creekside over here. And then Jay's Wood kind of is this big blob over here. You know that the bats go to the north in Jay's Wood. But the spot he marked on your map is right about here for Stumpville.
Okay.
So Stumpville is this spot over here, and then the bats go to the north. Now, given that they're in Jay's Wood, there's a possibility they might know where, but
I suppose my only other question on that is it sounded like he expected to meet us imminently.
He said if you're going to stay there, then he would meet you this afternoon, as it is unwise to travel the woods after dark.
Oh, because the option is that we could actually like kind of
Mhm.
take up a residence there. Interesting.
Mhm. Yeah,
I
they have a
see.
spot where visitors can stay even though they do not get many of them.
Okay.
But you are cautioned against exploring Jayswood after dark. Their jays are basically acting like the crows. They can provide daytime protection against certain things, but
Wow. What a good setup. An Air Force. Okay. I see what you mean then. So maybe we forgo that offer. Is that what you're thinking, Jerry?
I was thinking, like, see if we're able to explore a little bit more before we have to go to Jay's Woods, since it's like mid-afternoon, and see, like, if there's like something we're able to like get done before we have to go directly to Jay's Wood. Otherwise, I feel like if they've got nothing else to do, we just go now and go there and see what's up with them.
Right. Okay. Well,
it will probably take from where you're at, probably take about a watch. So before it got dark, he'd probably have an hour or two to poke around if you want.
well, that's the next question is then, how could we gain this information? I feel like I'm thinking like a human here, but I feel like we could create a battle and try to dissuade these squirrels. To think of it more like a mouse, like we could gather a force, set a trap, and drive off the squirrels and set up an ambush, and then maybe if we did that in a couple of these trees, we would dissuade them from messing with those two trees in particular, the one with the blue jays and the one with red.
Well, going by that logic, wouldn't it be better, instead of gathering a force, to show off a little bit of that bat magic and like threaten the squirrels to like stay off of these particular areas?
Oh my gosh, I don't know why this makes me think of the I think it was Arthur C. Clarke wrote The Postman, and it was like, okay, we need a postman, but then they didn't have one, but he found the outfit, and then he just started acting like a postman, and then all of a sudden everybody thought there was a postman.
Yeah,
we should
because
do
he
that.
symbolized civilization, and they all,
They just started believing him. Yeah, we should do that with the bat cult, and even though we haven't even seen a bat before, we should just start speaking on their behalf as their messengers.
They're gonna be really confused, but that's how we actually beat them.
I mean, works. And here's a little extra step that we could use to spice things up. We set this all up. The rest of us, except for Jerry, hide. And he threatens them as like the guardian of these two trees. And if they don't believe him, he can pretend like he's gonna cast something. And our resident wizard casts some magic on cue. And it should terrify him that this one mouse is super powerful.
Yeah, like we create a false rumor in general about someone who wields the power of the bats.
Yes.
And just start, I'm sure this won't get out of control at all.
At all. Nothing we've done so far has.
I'm down for the shenanigan.
The only snag I can think of is, do the squirrels speak mouse? Do we have to use up our last be understood spell to talk to them, or do we just jabber at them in mouse and, you know what I mean, hope that they get the picture?
That the latter could be an option. Just they'll probably speak firebolt or whatever the heck that spell was that she had that shot down the.
Get the point. Yeah.
But
kind of like that poor hawk.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
big poof of feathers.
We almost took down a hawk, man. I mean, But we
scared
really,
one hawk who could have very easily killed us all, and we weren't sure like how down it was, but we did scare them with that. So there's that.
yeah.
That's very true. What is it? Magic missile would probably deter the squirrels pretty good.
Yes. And if the squirrels don't speak mouse, are they mousist? Do all mice look the same to a squirrel?
Oh gosh, I sure hope we don't start a squirrel war.
It's too late for that. You've already started an anti-squirrel something.
Yeah, the anti-squirrel coalition.
It would also be like if we're really savvy, figuring out why the squirrels are migrating here and becoming aggressive. Because that was twice now that we've been told that it's become a bigger problem all of a sudden.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe we can help
Yeah.
the squirrels find peace
Maybe.
in the land.
Well, I'm sure they don't like Mr. Okex either. They're probably also worried about him because he would also go after a squirrel.
Sounds like Mr. Ocox is just petty and will go after anything.
Mm-hmm.
That pretty much sums him up.
We need what's that called? A whole thing. What's that? One of those things where it's like a bunch of stuff. We need like a whole plan. No, we don't. Let's just have fun. Let's do it. I say that we go see the Blue Jays first, and gather a bunch of mouse spears and mouse bows and arrows and slings, and we set up a vertical trap on the tree, wait for the squirrel to get there, and just try to absolutely terrify the crap out of the squirrel. And that's a pretty simple plan. And then even if we don't actually succeed, we trumpet that we have succeeded to the Blue Jays. We're like, look at what we've done. Like, yeah.
All thanks to the bat gods.
Yes.
And yeah, we give all the, yeah.
So in short, the bat cults never actually existed, but because we believe in them so much, we're just going to just enforce them to exist purely because the fact is, hey, we kept hearing they exist. Let's say they exist, and
like a wog, exactly.
Well, we don't know that no other bat cult exists. I rolled it on my character sheet, so I assume in world there's a certain number of bat.
First of all, Marigold, Marigold started the whole bat cult thing just because she thought that there was a bat cult, and we just naturally believed her. So I don't know. Maybe it could have just been a whole self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe, who knows?
Yeah. I'm ready to lean into this and have fun with it.
So shenanigans then.
Always.
Yeah.
All right.
Do we know where the squirrels are? Or we're going to go ask the Blue Jays where the squirrels are?
Well, there's the two trees. There's the tree that has red and the tree we went up with the Blue Jays, and they both steal acorns. So if we just set up an ambush, it seems like, but finding out where they were would be great. But they're also bigger than us, and we have ran peeing our pants several times. So I don't know if that's an exploration we can pull off.
Right.
One thing is they are definitely faster than us, so they could just hit us with hit and run tactics and just bother us all the way till we get back to civilization.
Squirrels also, I will attest to this, they have ranged weapons because they throw.
Oh my god.
They got
A lot.
acorns. They're gonna throw nuts at us.
I can attest to that from multiple angry squirrels. They chuck things when they're mad.
Oh, they do. I could tell you stories. My dad camping. It didn't go well.
All right. So,
So,
are we going to go ask the blue jays, or are we going to try to find a squirrel, or find one of the two trees?
We could go try and find the squirrels in our off time, like as we like casually head our way to Stumpsville. And since they're stronger, faster, and sounds like more feral than us, we could try and make peace. Just talk it out. Since we're better at talking than fighting, it sounds like, until magic gets involved.
well, where are the two trees that we're speaking of? Are they ahead of us or behind us in terms of the direction of Stumpville too? That could be a factor to take into consideration too.
They're off to the east
They're
in
so
the
they're
Jayswood.
oh, so they're
Yeah,
further along.
The Stumpville's to the east by about a watch.
Yeah.
The
Oh.
trees that you were in are actually near to where you're at, because you kind of met with him near to where you met with the jays in one of the two trees you originally, or near the trees you originally climbed.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. So they're like just
So
right
you're not too far from them. Yes.
Oh, okay. We potentially could look at setting up some sort of ambush right now if we wanted to in the hour or two. And our plan is to what? Make them think the bats did this or the bat cultists did this?
Hear them then say bats did it. When mice ask, how'd you do it? We say bats.
Right. Yeah, so we're trying to get the squirrels to also think the bats are the ones who are...
Yeah, and they did it because we were able to talk to them, because we're the mouse cult, or the bat cult now, I guess.
Yes, we're the chosen ones of the bat world. Yeah.
We're the bat guardians, okay?
The bat prophets.
Yes.
Marigold
Keith
is
to the bat god.
Marigold is our bat prophet, and we are her disciples.
So names for the group so far: we have Anti-Squirrel Coalition and Bat Guardians.
Ooh, bat guardians a symbol. Coalition members a symbol. I like bat guardians.
I like male mice.
Male mice,
Male mice is
yeah.
also a good one. You guys have a lot of good ones going.
We wear a lot of hats. A lot of hats.
Yeah.
Look, it depends on like who asked us. So if we're delivering mail, we're the male mice. If we're getting converts to the bat cult, we're the bat guardians. If we're fighting the squirrels, we're the anti-squirrel coalition. I think we need a new name to for fighting Mr. Olcox. We're the owl deterrents or something. I don't know.
We'll have to
the anti-Owlcox Confederation.
I feel like we're more like liberated or something like that, or you know what I mean? Because we were under
the Liberation Force.
the owl liberation, liberated from, I don't know, something like that.
You know, we'll go ahead and pass the names around. We'll see what sticks, and we'll see what most mice will like. And if whoever they like the most, that'll be our name.
That's right.
Yes, makes sense to me.
Okay, so we're gonna go back to the tree that had the blue jays, right? And do we have all the weapons we need? We're gonna need to be ready to fight and win a fight.
So I have a bow, 3 arrows, and 2 rolls of twine, 3 torches, water skin, and some rations. That's what I have.
I still have my trusty pouch to throw stones, and I still have the sword, which I only used once.
Sword's good.
I don't think
Sword will
these
come in very handy.
these squirrels will be up melee though. That's the thing. They're gonna be out of our reach, so I'm not sure how much is gonna be useful.
Yeah.
I
Well,
have
that magic
Poppy
will
down
definitely
as
come in
having
handy.
a sling. Poppy has a sling. Gooseberry has a bow. I have Oliver down as having a bow.
Oh, and somebody's got porcupine quills.
Oh, and Marigold has a sling too.
Yes. I haven't had to use it because I've been using the bat magic. But if I run out
I
of bat
usually
magic,
call
then
down lightning on things.
yeah, it's much more dramatic.
Yeah,
You
sling
should have
especially
gone
with
when we asked.
All right, how do we make
So you do
this?
have a lot of ranged weapons.
Okay, we need to make ourselves really spooky, so I have blackberry paint for that. So we can all be like really goth mice. So that, you know, and we really have to be scary as much as we can when this happens. I'm trying to think of how else we could be scary.
Blackberry, though, does stain your fur, so keep that in mind for any things you have after.
It's
You'll
gonna
be purple
be
mice.
kind of awkward if we're all like golfed up. Then we go to the Jays, but it's like, who are you guys? Like, we're the mice you told.
You don't look the same.
Yeah, no, you're correct. Gosh.
I mean, what if we like found some like twigs and weird stuff like that and kind of made some weird kind of like crowns out of them, or like stuck I was just thinking about some of the crazy
We can
like things
all
that you
these bat teeth I've been carrying around. We can string them on a string
Yeah.
and
I
add
like
it.
the
I like the
version of a
twig
ghillie
crowns. The
suit.
twig crowns sounds awesome.
Yeah.
I'll go along with any plan. I kind of vote for just talking to the squirrels and figuring out why they're coming to our neck of the woods.
Well, but we need the stone to do that, though.
Yeah, and we aren't sure we want to sacrifice that. We were saving that to talk
We're
to the bats.
assuming we need the stone to do that. Some you found you do, and some you don't.
True.
Yeah, we could be talking to like the British squirrels, and you guys encountered like the Scandinavian squirrels before.
Well, let me throw this out there. Here's a really big risk. What if we actively seek out the squirrels that we evaded from and ask to speak with them? That's like a big. That's the big risk. Like, you know, because if they fight us.
I think we should dress up in the spooky costumes before we parlay, so that we have the kind of psychological advantage. And then if it comes to blows, we can still blame everything on the bats.
Well, wait, didn't they see your prowess beforehand?
I don't think we really fought squirrels.
Yeah, we
Not
never
these
actually
squirrels.
interacted with the squirrels. We avoided them for most of the time.
These are tree squirrels in Jayswood. The one you guys dealt with before was a ground squirrel at New House, so they wouldn't be talking likely.
Yeah,
Very
there's
much.
like Game of Thrones going on with the squirrels too. So we could just talk to the tree squirrels and see what's going on.
Yeah. No, I like that. Okay, so what? But it goes back though. Do we actively seek them out and take that risk?
My personal opinion, if we're just gonna go exploring before we make it to Stumpsville, I would say yeah, we could just go search for squirrel.
Yeah. Okay. Well, perhaps it is time to be brave mice. Perhaps it's time to take a risk. Or perhaps now is when Pearl dies. I don't know.
Who knows? Maybe the thing that drove the squirrels here is the same thing that Mr. Alcax fears, and we could like 2 deadly threats, 1 owl, and we free the forest from all tyranny. Until the Snake Empire invades.
There's always a Snake Empire.
Always.
Okay, so we should, if this is the case, we should go back to the area where we were pursued before we got to the Jayswood, right? Because that's where their hole was.
What do you think, you guys? Jerry, you're the hero. What do you say?
Yeah, let's look. The last location we found the squirrels. Let's go back there and see if we can find them.
Maybe there'll be paw prints or tracks or something we can trace them with, even if they're not there.
If there's no immediate.
Okay.
So just to be clear, we're not going to Stumpville tonight.
Right.
Okay.
You can't do
It's a good thing that they marked it for us, so we can just return eventually.
Jade's real name, Jerome Slaughter.
Will the gatekeeper be waiting for us the next day, though?
Well, you said there were two different options.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
We could either go and stay there and he'd be ready to take us in somewhere, or...
Steel doors. Maybe we could use the new revenues.
We could like go with him now as a guide and go to Stumpsville, or he would give us the directions
Oh, I
and
understand.
we would return to Creekside supposedly, yeah.
Oh, I understand.
As we instead of going back
It's
to
a
Creekside,
secret.
now we're hunting down the squirrel mafia.
Well, I mean, I don't see the point in going back to Creekside unless it's to arm ourselves up. But other than that,
We don't have the pips or the trade-worthy items to get any armor, I don't think.
we'd have to collect
Armor's
more.
expensive.
Yeah,
You know, this guy had a great idea.
true.
I really have. Excuse me.
Okay.
I'm not against going and finding the squirrels and trying to have a parley with them.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I mean, so as I recall, the Jays said they really like acorns, but they said don't give them any of their acorns, and it was the same that Mr. Red said. He said don't take any of his acorns. So are we able to maybe find some acorns that don't belong to either the Jays or Mr. Red the Woodpecker and offer those to the squirrels? I mean, it worked really good in Hazel's experience when dealing with, unfamiliar creatures.
You could do a forage check and see.
Sure. How do we do that?
I believe it is. What was it? Have to look it up real quick. I believe it is a D6. Do. I should write this on my sheet. We've had to forage twice. But yeah, I believe it's a D6, and then that's conditions. Foraging. In the wild, your mouse can spend a watch foraging, but you'd have to spend a whole watch doing it. Which, if you're not going to Stumpville tonight, you would probably have the time. But you wouldn't have much time to chat with a squirrel after you find acorns. And then you would find D3 uses of rations. Or acorns.
What do you guys think? Should we try to find acorns or not?
If we're going to parley, we should at least bring something nice. I think that's a wonderful idea. There's no
Yeah,
point
I like-
sabotaging our negotiations before they start.
Yeah, I like that idea too.
That seems to be a trend with you guys bringing food. Or
Yeah.
Everyone likes food. And then if they're
We
not
have some-
hungry, so they don't eat us.
Yeah, exactly.
don't eat us. See good food.
That's right.
Yeah.
Do we still have any honey? Could we roll the acorns into the honey?
I
don't-
think we used most of the honey.
Gave it
I
to.
think we traded
We
that.
gave it to the Creekside mice because we're hoping
Creekside,
to establish a trade. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so we don't currently have honey, but we could have access to it. Okay. So do you want me to
Well,
do
that's a really good idea. If the Stumpville mice will bargain some of their sweet stuff, maybe that would help keep the squirrels away from the acorns.
maybe they have a sweet tooth too. I mean, Hazel does.
We found the secret piece for all the woods. It's actually honey.
It's
Yeah.
actually sugar. Yeah.
So do you guys want me to do a roll to see if we find some acorns?
Yeah.
If we're we're gonna do the negotiations today, everything. Yeah, let's go ahead forward some.
Okay, I'll see if I type this up right.
Unless you're doing a different house rule about it. It just says you got to spend a watch. towards you, and they'll
Oh.
find 3D uses of rations.
Is that what it is? Oh, okay. I thought I had to roll to see how many I got. So anyway, I rolled
Nah,
a 5.
it is. It's
Yeah,
like
you-
you spend a watch and you get D3 uses. So
Oh, D3. Oh, I see.
Yeah, I just wanted to double check since I have the book up anyways, looking at it.
Yeah, that's what it
Okay.
says. Is you get D3. We could just say your D6. We'll divide it by 3. So
Yeah.
you basically rolled a 3.
Okay, cool. So we got
So you
Nice.
got 3 nice, pretty, beautiful, non-buggy acorns that
nice.
you
No
found.
holes in them. They're all shiny.
No
nice.
holes, no weevils. They're
Yeah.
shiny. They still have their little caps on them. They're beautiful.
Perfect. All right, Hazel's gonna put those in her backpack. Be like, all right, we have squirrel peacemaking offerings. There we go.
Nice. All right, let's do it. Let's go find his home.
all right.
Yeah.
4,000 square foot living area. And over here we have flat.
All right. So as you, I think the music's turned off. As you walk through the woods, you find the area that was very ferny and had little brush in it, with a trail winding through the last time that you found the squirrel. Or actually, yeah, you did find some squirrels at the bottom of a tree talking. Getting there this time, you notice that there aren't squirrels there, though you do notice plenty of little lumps in the ground or little holes dug at the base of the tree. But you don't see any squirrels on the ground.
Dear
Marigold
God, the
wants to
snake mafia
investigate.
has shown up.
Marigold wants to investigate the little lumps. She's curious.
I'll just in case, Oliver will pull out his bow and just keep you covered.
Okay.
So you find that the little lumps are actually loosely packed dirt, and if you kind of brush it off with your paw, you find an acorn or peanuts or other little seeds buried inside each little mound.
Hey, Hazel, I found a bunch of seeds. Let's bring these to the squirrels.
Oh, perfect. Peanuts.
We'll just unbury all the nuts
just dig up all the buried stuff.
and give them back to the squirrel.
Would the squirrels
Right.
even notice?
Well, while you are doing this, let's see if I can find this one. While you are doing this, you hear some angry chattering from above in the tree.
In the tree?
And yeah, sure, at the base of a tree in the forest.
Yeah, no, I'm just...
In Chasewood. And you look up and notice squirrels coming down. They do not look very happy with you.
Oh no, more than one?
Ooh.
Oh no.
That didn't go well.
All right, we're gonna need to just...
Oh.
Maybe we should take a risk now and actually try to offer them some peace offering and try?
Yeah, Hazel's gonna do the same thing she's did before. She's gonna take her backpack off. She's gonna open it up. She's gonna like tuck her head down, just hold it up above her, and be like, "We bring you peace offering. We've brought you beautiful acorns. Please don't hurt us."
Right, at this, they're both kind of puzzled, but they're eyeing the peanuts and the seeds that were dug up. One of them is still kind of angry, and his tail keeps twitching, and he won't stop chattering. The other one looks at, I'll just pick one, Hazel, because you have the acorns. Hey, nuts! You dig up our nuts! We spent all day burying them, and you dig up our nuts! You're just as bad as the jays!
No, not these ones. These ones we brought for you. We didn't realize that those were yours. We thought these ones we brought for you, though.
Danny just kind of stares at you for a second.
Hazel's just gonna keep cowering and like holding up the bag of acorns and hoping that it's gonna make him happy.
At this, you watch him. He kind of takes his paws to our squirrel's face and just goes, and kind of bats it, just try to get the other squirrel to stop chattering for a second so he could hear you. And he comes down a little lower. He's almost a little hesitant, and he's looking you over. Oh, you're not those cranky mice, are you? Well, as long as you leave all of our hard-earned nuts and seeds alone, I suppose there's no harm. Did you say you brought new ones?
Yes, we brought you these.
At this, he comes down, and he's very tentative, and his tail keeps twitching, and he's staring at you. The other squirrel still looks very ticked off, but is being quiet because he was told to be. But the squirrel kind of comes back and just like tentatively take your nut and then sticks it in his mouth. And he grabs the other one and sticks that one in his mouth. And he's trying to gather the seeds, and he kind of gets the other squirrel who comes down and grabs it and then carries it all up the tree. And he kind of stares at you and goes, "For the acorns? And he disappears up the tree as well.
Out of curiosity, what color are these squirrels?
They're gray.
They're gray, okay. Hazel's just gonna kind of collapse onto the ground and, like, panting.
Marigold is very
she didn't
confused.
die.
Marigold has no idea what just happened.
I come over and I console Hazel. I'm also shaking. And yeah, what the heck just happened? Exactly.
It's just terrifying.
Well, now we know squirrels also bury their food. I guess they ran out of space for their trees, I guess.
How are we going to speak with these beings? They're so fast and erratic and hungry and angry.
They're very confusing.
Yes, very irrational.
Yes, not mouse-like at all.
No.
Are we even going to be able to call them down, maybe? Because they noticed us when we were digging out their stuff. What if we just try to, like, rationally just call them out and say, like, hey, we want to talk, and see if we're still able to have a conversation? I mean, because before that was just like they were just miffed at us for messing with their food, which we didn't know about, and so they're like all high in spirits. But maybe if we try like try to coax them down, like, hey, we didn't mean it. We just want to talk, and let's see if we're able to have a conversation, at least get somewhere with them, maybe.
Yeah, I mean that's the trying again. I vote for trying again. Let's pursue them and be like, hey, wait, please.
So are you going to climb up the tree after them, or are you going to wait at the bottom?
Oh, we have to climb. We have to, right?
It's an option either way. You can climb because you're mice and the bark is climbable.
I say we climb.
All right.
Yes.
All
Let's
right,
go.
so you start climbing this tree up after the squirrels. And as you're climbing, you notice that there appears to be what kind of looks like the world's messiest bird nest up higher into the tree. It's just branches and leaves and sticks just stuck haphazardly into this big wad. And you swear you see a squirrel tail kind of twitching around off the side of this big wad of mess that the squirrels have apparently built in the tree. As you get closer, you can hear them kind of chattering to each other. You just let them go? Just like that? They tried to take our food. They weren't taking our food, Skitter. Chill.
Skitter.
They brought us nuts. Yeah, they could have dug those up from some. You know what? You're just too paranoid. It's not my fault. I'm paranoid. Sheesh. You're going to give me a headache. First mice and now you. And then you hear someone chattering and muttering angrily, making angry squirrel noises under his breath.
Alright, so who volunteers to try to communicate with them?
Who's the most diplomatic?
Probably you.
That's right. I need to be a suave cult leader. Okay. I'll go squeaking up to the door. Or I guess the opening. Wait, before I go, I guess Marigold will start to skitter up and then stop and come back and ask, just to be clear what they're trying to say. They're trying to ask the squirrels politely to consider an alternate arrangement to stealing from the jays. Is that right?
Basically, we're trying to figure out why they're being more aggressive and why they're stealing from the jays. Like, what's their beef with them to begin with, and why they're doing it more now, more or less. So we figure out like what's causing the problem to begin with.
Oh, that's right. Okay, I remember. Marigold will turn back around and skitter towards the nest again. And when I get there, I'll kind of like sit up in the entrance and make a polite, like, mouse cough noise.
That was the best mouse cough I've ever heard from a human. That was great.
That sounded like it was from Toontown. That was great.
So they hear this noise, and you immediately hear, "They're coming back to take our nuts!" Skitter? Shush. Oh my goodness, I can't do anything with you. And you see this little head kind of pop out, and it's hanging upside down. So you're staring at like upside down squirrel with ears, staring down at you with little paws sticking out at the top of this bushy mass of sticks and stuff. What do you want,
Mr. Squirrel? We wondered.
More nuts?
Well, we gave them to you already. We gave all our nuts to you already, but we did want to ask. It seems like you have a hard time getting nuts.
Oh,
are there not enough nuts in the forest?
Lots of nuts to find. This forest is full of nuts. There's the actual food nuts, and then oh my goodness, have you talked to those birds? Those are flying nuts altogether. I'm surprised they don't run into more trees. Speaking of nuts, have you tried nuts? Nuts are amazing, especially peanuts. We don't find those very much.
Was it harder for you to find nuts before?
No. We've never had problems finding nuts. We're really good at finding nuts. Nuts are very tasty, you know. And seeds. Fish aren't bad either. But we prefer nuts. You should try them sometime. Did you bring us more nuts?
Well, we had spoken to a bird, and the bird said that recently you had a hard time finding nuts. So we wanted to make sure that you had all the nuts you needed.
Oh, yes. Those crazy jays. They're always leaving their nuts everywhere. It's quite easy to get nuts here. You should try it sometime. Speaking of nuts, have you tried a walnut recently? Those are really good, but they don't leave them in feeders anymore. Those are the peanuts that you find in feeders, but there's no feeders here.
Feeders?
Where are the feeders?
Bring some more nuts.
Those sounds amazing. Where were the feeders?
Feeders? I don't know.
Oh no, they're doing
Either
the
way,
squirrel
the nuts
thing.
here are pretty good.
Sorry, I was about to say, like, they're doing the squirrel thing with this freeze up randomly, and then
Yeah.
Yeah.
The brain just restarts.
Like twitchy tails, and
yeah. Well, Marigold is
and
losing her own
the
train of
other
thought.
squirrel pops his head over, and he's kind of looking at you suspiciously. Well, if you didn't bring more nuts, what are you coming up here for?
Your friend said that you had many nuts, and then you lost your nuts, and then you had to come here.
Oh yes, we had to leave the old nuts behind, but we got plenty of new nuts here. Not that you're welcome to have those nuts. You can go find your own nuts. Goodness knows there's more than enough nuts to go around. But don't take the peanuts. We like the peanuts.
What made you leave all those nuts?
Oh, well, it wasn't safe anymore. We couldn't stay there. No, it wouldn't do. So we had to leave those nuts and come here. And lo and behold, there's lots of nuts here. Easy to find nuts, too. Nuts in trees, nuts in the dirt. That's all over the place. But very
Why
easy
wasn't
to
it
find.
safe? What was the danger?
And
it sounds very
they kind of
scary.
twitch nervously. It was. And at this, one of them is like he's having like the serious twitchy conniption, and he just is kind of frozen twitching. The one that called scares us. It was the owl, silly. Too scared to say it.
Oh, the owl. Yes, he's our enemy as well, and we got some crows to help fight him off.
Oh. Well, you may have gotten crows to fight him off, but it didn't do us any good, and he's still there, and well, as long as he's there, we can't live there anymore.
Yes, that is. We feel the same way. That's why we're here. We came to find something that would help us chase him off forever. The crows said they needed help from another creature. So that's why we're here, to get something to sneak him
but
off.
in the meantime, we've got plenty of nuts here. Like I said, there's lots of nuts here, but you can't have our nuts.
If the owl was gone, would you go back to your feeders?
Well, there's no feeders there, but there's lots of nuts.
If the owl was gone, would you go back to the other nuts and leave the blue jays alone?
Well, why would we need to go back to the other nuts? We've got nuts here.
Yes, but the blue jays
there are other nuts.
The other nuts are much tastier. They're walnuts, remember? And they don't have walnuts here.
Oh, that is true. We do miss the walnuts. The walnuts were quite tasty. There was this huge black walnut tree. So good. And a couple of months, it's going to be dropping them all over the place. Just right for the picking. So you should try them sometime. Nice, big, chunky walnuts would be good in a soup, I think. We just eat them straight from the ground. Bury them in the ground, kind of like we do the peanuts. Have you tried a peanut? Not one of our peanuts, I mean, but have you tried a peanut that you found? That's not ours.
If the owl was gone, would you go back to the walnut tree when the walnuts fall in a few months? Then you could have all the nuts you wanted.
Well, I mean, if we had proof he was gone, possibly. But after last month, and he just kind of shudders. No, we're quite happy here until we're sure he's gone. Unless he's gone, we are not going anywhere. We've got all the nuts we need here. Yes, sirree. And he disappears back in the net, leaving the other squirrel, who's now stopped twitching, staring at you. Are we done talking about the big scary bird yet? Because I'd rather talk about nuts.
Of course.
Hazel's gonna kind of crawl up beside Marigold and say, "So
Marigold is like slightly dazed, and like one of her ears is off to the side, and her whiskers are all scant. She's kind of like having trouble processing mentally,
having a mental breakdown."
Yeah.
The black walnut tree that you speak so fondly of. Where exactly is it?
You see, we came through the forest and we walked through the big field of tall grass that was kind of brown. Not much good for eating. And there's no nuts there. No peanuts. No nuts at all. Very sad. And then we crossed the big gray flat thing. We had to check a lot of times to make sure nothing was coming. And then there's this huge dark forest on the other side. So nice and cozy. And it was lovely. Lots of tall old trees and a few snags to live in and lots of walnuts. There's lots of nuts over there. And there's the almond tree and not as many peanuts, but there's quite a few nuts over there and lots of seeds. And it is pretty, but there's the big scary thing. And at this point he proceeds to return to twitching.
Okay. Yeah, so they came from across the road on the other side of Dimwood Forest.
All right.
And they came into Dimwood Forest, and Mr. Alcox is there, and they can't eat the walnuts from the trees because of him.
Oh.
Yeah.
This is great. So we have more allies, because we can tell the... can we secure a promise that if we provide proof that the owl is gone, that they'll go back to Dimwood Forest and eat of the walnut tree? Can we...
I don't know that they're the kind of creatures that think long enough to make and keep a promise, but they do seem motivated by the walnut harvest that happens in a few months.
Yeah.
And they sound like they would, if they had proof, they would go back for that. And then I'm sure they'd forget how to get back here because they don't
We'll
They
have
don't
to,
seem
like,
very-
help them maybe. But yes.
Yeah.
Hazel,
Okay.
Hazel's gonna call out to the less twitchy one. What was his name? Skitter?
Skitter, yes.
Mr. Skitter, Mr. Skitter, are you there?
And he reappears. He's kind of got a mouthful at this point. What do you want? Not my nuts, stranger. These are my nuts.
You speak so fondly of peanuts. I admit I've never had the opportunity to try them, but I know of a place where we could get more for you if they were peanuts that you really wanted, and we were thinking, with the walnut harvest a few months away, if we were to get rid of the owl and you were to move back to your old tree where you have your old collection of nuts and the walnuts, and if we were to drop you off some peanuts, would that sound like a fair deal to you if you were to go back there? Of course, after the owl is gone.
Oh. You get rid of the owl. We may not return right away, because we don't remember where we buried any of those nuts, right? When the walnut tree drops the nuts in a couple of months, we'll go back. But we don't remember the way there.
Okay. We know a mouse who's a very good map maker who probably could help lead you there. Volunteering Pearl.
Is that a kind of nut too?
No, I'm not a nut. I'm not. No.
No,
We don't know about that.
Mouse who knows the way, or who can lead you. Yeah.
Well, if the owl were gone, you could prove the owl were gone. And then he kind of goes up, and you hear him moving around, and he comes back with his cheeks less full. You prove the owl's gone. And you can take us to the walnut tree forest. But not now. It have to be when the walnuts are almost ready. Then we would move back. We don't want to cause a problem, and we're not terribly fond of the raccoon or the fox. Mind you, they've been a bit easier to avoid than Mr. Cranky Feathers, but you prove the owl's gone, then yes, we would agree to leave. We don't want to cause a fuss, and we just want our nuts, the really good nuts, like the walnuts, because they're delicious and they're big. Why, I dare say some of them could be as big as one of you. But they have nuts inside, and they're really good. Not as good as a peanut, mind you. A peanut would be really good. Say, did you say you know where peanuts are?
I know of a source for peanuts, yes, and potentially we could arrange to get you some to as a gesture of good faith for our deal.
Well, I'll tell you what. You get rid of this owl, and if you could bring us one of the short fluffy feathers from his head to prove that he's gone, because those are hard to get, especially if he's still alive. You bring us one of those, and then we'll follow you back to your forest, especially if there's nuts, because we really like nuts. Then we'll go. But you would have to bring back one of the fluffy short feathers from the head of the owl.
Hazel's gonna look at Marigold. Do you think we can do it?
Of course we can do it.
I think we could do it.
Alright, it sounds like our main objective just got even more dangerous. So now it is
Wait,
just
guys,
making sure
don't we have feathers from the hawk still?
I don't think they're gonna believe that.
Yeah,
those are
I think those like the long feathers or something like that. They're I
No,
think like
the
they're
soft,
short.
fluffy feathers that we used to fill our beds with.
That would be down feathers. Head feathers are kind of interesting, the way the feather is shaped.
Okay, then maybe we can get the crows to peck one off.
Good.
Because they always dive bomb and harass him. I'm sure they've gotten some feathers off him.
We're gonna need a lot of peanuts by the end of this. We're gonna need like caravans. Just
So many peanuts.
We need to find out where Brambley Hedge is getting their peanuts so we can get right to the source.
They may not be interested, but this still seems like sometimes asking for something can be more useful than offering something. And I think if we went to what is it called, Oaks Grove, I think we could tell them, hey, we can help your birds, and it helps us if we're able to drive off this owl. So then, we don't have any proof of that, of course. So there's that problem. But that helps us ultimately anyway. That helps us more than if we had just driven the squirrels off.
Alright, so we got like one half of the problem, at least like we know what to do now. Now the other half, we have to convince we know how to fix it. We just need to get to it and get a whole agreement arranged, essentially.
Yeah. It would be helpful to have one more lever to pull. But maybe not. Maybe we should just go.
Yeah, we managed to ironically get a lot done here with the squirrels at least, so, and I think at this point, I think it's too late to head to Jay's Wood. We're leaving that for another day, or we're heading back to Creekside.
We used a watch. I don't know.
So yeah, it would be getting towards evening now. So you have enough time to make it back to Creekside before dark, but barely. You would not have enough time to make it to Jayswood before dark.
Yeah.
Or not Jayswood,
Yeah. Yeah, let's be safe, because even the Blue Jays are like, yeah, Mr. Allcock's like, we can't do anything at night, and he is in fact hunting us. Like, he almost got me that one night. Like, yeah, no, I'm not testing that.
Stumpsville, sorry, Stumpsville.
That's Stumpsville.
Oh yeah, Hazel totally knows where you're coming from, Jerry. He's terrifying.
All right, let's go back to.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So you are heading back towards. Is it? You're heading back towards the marsh. And.
Uh-oh.
Oh no.
Interesting. That's a signal issue, I think.
Okay, I was wondering if that was just me.
No. Yeah. Wait, I think she's coming back.
Oh, did I lose it?
Yeah, Bertie, you were gone. It went wild there for a second. The last thing we heard was you're approaching the marsh.
Oh, okay. So you're approaching the marsh, and it is still kind of at the tail end of dinner. Are you wanting to do dinner at the inn, or are you wanting to, whose house was it? Return to Lotus and Barley's house for dinner tonight?
Ever since the incident, I always ask Lotus if I can stay. Ever since the fish incident.
Lotus, we just had a near-death experience. We don't trust anywhere but your house. Can we stay, please?
All right.
We might taste crawdads again.
Yeah, I think Hazel's kind of like just wanting some simple food and quiet after all the excitement with the squirrels.
Definitely.
All right. So Buckthorn, and who was the other one that was with you?
It was Cattail.
Cattail. Buckthorn and Cattail both head over. They bid you goodnight, tell you they'll catch you in the morning outside the inn after breakfast. But they're gonna head in because they really have a hankering for some fish. Buckthorn tells you to say hey to his brother for him and let him know he's not dead yet. So there. And they head off. You head over to Lotus's house, and when you come in, you can hear her humming, and she has the fire going. It looks like she has some sort of a soup going tonight. She's serving, what is it? So she has taken cattails, and cooked them in such a way that they kind of are chunky, sort of mimic the texture of potatoes, which she says are harder to come by as it comes up towards trading time. But she thought you'd want something mild if you drop by for the night. So it's got a nice chewy texture. It's not terribly fishy, but it's a very mild kind of chowder of sorts with no fish, thankfully, for Pearl. And she served some acorn flour biscuits with it.
Nice. I think I'm pretty happy with this, and I chow down.
Yeah, Hazel's quite happy to eat this too.
Jerry's content one way or the other. He's just happy he's alive and eating.
Being scared for my life makes me so hungry.
Yeah.
Scared? She kind of looks at you. What were you up to today? My goodness.
Collecting nuts.
Aha, so you were in the forest. And she just kind of shakes her head and smiles. Too much excitement for me, I dare say, but to each his own.
Well, we have to help our friends. They're coming from, is it Greyhouse? Greyhouse,
Yeah.
yes. We still have to help our friends. And we're never going to feel safe until that owl's gone.
Yes, he has been a problem.
Oh, really?
Well, I mean, every once in a while we'd have problems with fishermen going missing in the middle of the night, no explanation, or
You fisher mice?
yeah, it's not common for them to be out on the water, but at night. But every once in a while, someone doesn't make it back in time, and you find a raft floating the next morning with scratches across it.
Oh,
Or
no.
worse yet, the boat is completely flipped. Doesn't happen often, but it's been more so of late, and there have been sightings by some of the watch mice that say they're seeing glowing eyes in the dark. Do be careful if you are out at night. Don't want to get on his bad side.
Poppy, I can't believe that we ever believed he was our guardian.
Jerry's face is just immortal terror, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, that's nice to know. Would have been nice to hear about that before." And he's just shaking it. It's just like he's shaking with his like cup and everything with his utensils, and just like he's chattering.
It's not a good look for our legendary hero. Okay, you gotta mice up there, man.
I am a fisher mouse. I am terrified.
He comes along and pats him. Now, don't worry there. He hasn't broken into any of our little mud homes before, and he's not gonna start now. Here, have another biscuit.
Nice.
Guys, as terrifying as he is, I'm sure that as long as you're not out, too close to dark, either night or morning, you'll probably be fine, right?
Sure. We'll be fine.
That said, I would be careful. He's been seen more of late, and he's always been a problem, but I know that if you manage to somehow find a way to get rid of him, all of the mouse colonies will be happier for it. Why, if you're not heroes now, you sure will be.
So, okay, out of character, has he been cited more frequently before the anti-squirrel coalition showed up on Creekside's doorstep?
He has a knack for following the party around.
Oh no.
Yeah, no.
He followed them to Brambly Hedge and made attempts on the mice if they were out too close to dark there. And he has a couple watch trees so he can see movement.
Oh god.
And his hatred has led him to and hunger has sometimes led him being out during day a little bit. And so yes, he is tracking you. And you are now part of the party, so congratulations.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
But yes, he is tracking the party actively.
Yeah. Sorry,
He knows you're here.
Sorry, we didn't mention that when you joined up with us.
That's fine.
We forgot.
Fine, you know.
It's probably something the party is not sharing with new friends to freak them out. By the way, we have a psychopathic homicidal owl hunting us, so
You guys are like
welcome.
a group of dragonborn, okay? Wherever you go, a dragon's gonna spawn.
It's because we're
Yeah.
the chosen of the gods, and so
Right.
we've been appointed this fate.
That's
I'll be-
right. The disciples of the Bat Prophet.
Yeah. Okay. We should go to bed and get up and go find this creature that can drive Mr. Alcox away so that we can set everything right. In my
Yes.
opinion.
What happened to the...
Alright. So yeah, first thing in the morning, breakfast, then head off to Stumpsville.
All right. So you all go to sleep, more or less soundly, but again, you swear you can hear the soft, muffled hoos of an owl every once in a while. You're not sure if he's just doing it randomly or if he's doing it so that you know he is there still.
That's his
Jerry doesn't
power
sleep
move.
alone tonight.
Just
He's bunking with
hoots
someone.
and
He's going to go with Marigold and chant bat prayers with her all night.
See, that's a power move. He's gonna hoot so nobody can get sleep and drive us further into bat cultism.
That will
You
backfire
wake
on
up in
him.
the morning, and the hooing has stopped, thankfully. Lotus is in the kitchen, whipping up some little hot cakes. And she has a little jar of berry preserve. She says, don't get these often, but figure after the trouble you had yesterday, it might be nice for a sweet something. And she puts a little spoonful on each plate for you to dip your hot cakes in.
Oh, how nice.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Randall
Lotus.
will dig in and thank her kindly.
Yeah.
Oliver, so what happened with the squirrels? Sorry, I was away from the PC for a little bit.
We managed to make a deal with them where they said they'll leave the Jays Wood and leave the Blue Jays alone, provided we provide proof that Mr. Alcox has gone through getting some head feathers from them, and basically guiding them back to the walnut tree they used to be at in, I think it was like in the Dimwood Forest, or like the place like yeah.
Oh, great. So not only do we have to slay the dragon, we have to bring them back a trophy, and then basically go through Mirkwood just to find this sacred tree that they were... It would be easier if we just maybe do something else and have them join the coalition army against the owl? We could all
They're
live
terrified
in
of
harmony
him. They don't want to fight him.
Yeah,
One
well,
of them
we're
breaks out
terrified
and
of 'em too.
twitches every time the cranky feathered thing is mentioned.
Yeah, it's like his little squirrel brain shuts down. He can't process it.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, the mice are terrified too. I mean, but we have soldiers, okay? We could lead the squirrels and the mice on a grand, fantastical...
We're leading an army with 0 morale. We ain't gonna survive.
But they have
See,
nuts.
we don't-
But they're not your nuts, so you can't have them because it's theirs.
Exactly. They can keep the nuts. We just got to give them a really rousing speech, and boom, we at least have 1 morale from them. Okay.
I think the speech should involve some sort of nut-oriented item.
Now, granted, if you were to find a use for the squirrels that did not involve the big cranky feathered thing, they may be willing to help, but
Make some traps in the trees, you know? Like, when we get near close to the final confrontation with Mr. Alcox, we have to go across the land and give the rousing speech to all the kingdoms. And everybody will do their part. We'll have to unify Mouseland and Squirrelland and maybe Snake Mafia together.
Yes.
The 100-acre wood will know peace.
it is pretty close to that big, if not bigger.
Okay.
Okay, so we start traveling that way.
Is there anything you're wanting to do in Creekside before you leave?
Well,
Assuming that you may be staying in Jayswood for a little while.
actually, let's. Gosh, my allergies. I rolled around in the grass, so she can't be in gymnast class anymore right now. So instead, she just gets on the ground and goes, roll over, and she makes me do it. But I have allergies.
She made you roll through it again.
Yeah, I mowed the yard, and then she's like, roll around in this.
No.
Oh, that's the worst.
And so now my eyes are on fire. All right, I'm looking at the pins. I'm thinking, here's the thing. This is an old school game. There are 2 things that you should always have. 3 things, but you mentioned armor, and yeah, we probably can't afford it. But apart from that, the other 2 things are long spears and ranged weapons. Everybody should be able to have a ranged weapon. Every weapon in the game does D4. If you can have 1 surprise, just 1, then you have 6, 7, 8, 9 mice doing D4 damage all at once. That'll kill almost anything. But so every single mouse with us should have a sling, if possible.
Or a bow.
Well,
Bow does
ideally.
D8.
Yeah,
I've got a
ideally.
bow. I think
I
there's
don't know
what,
if there's
3?
a cost damage between them.
We have 93 pips for the group that I'm tracking. Hawk feathers, quills, some spare rations for the group, twine rope, flannel, 1 bolt left, and 1 torch. So
I'm willing to trade my beetle to see how much armor we might be able to get. I don't know how useful that would be, or whatever items you guys think the group might need.
obviously Jerry has to be in the front, so he
Yes.
should have armor if possible.
Yeah, I have the most HP. I'm the most high-leveled.
Though, if
He
you
is
remember
that
right,
classic
Chicory 2
man.
has heavy armor, and he tends to travel towards the front or with whoever's taking the lead on something, except for tree climbing, because that's just not going to work for speed in a tree.
Let me ask this. Does anybody here not have a ranged weapon?
According to my chart, that would be Jerry, Hazel, and Pearl, unless you guys
I
have
have
some
one.
armor. Otherwise,
No,
I
I got my sling.
I have a bow.
Yeah, I have a sling.
Okay, so Hazel has a bow,
Yes.
and then Jerry and Pearl have slings. So according to this, everyone has one.
Okay.
But I only have 1 weapon. I have no secondary.
Yeah, you should have a pokey thing,
Okay.
in my
This is a dumb
opinion.
question. With every shot from the bow, does that beat?
Wait, didn't we get a bunch of quills off of Aaron?
We did. But do they take up 1 slot or 2?
I think I ruled that you could just like have them tied onto your belt if you wanted, but it is a very long quill. It could function theoretically as a spear because the way it's shaped, they have like it's got the sharp end, so it's this long needle, but it has like this barb that goes backwards. So you have the arrow, and once it's in, it's not coming back out. So it's like a one-time use spear. Because once you get it in something, it is not coming back out.
Okay. Because I have like one slot in my
And you can't
backpack.
throw them, you'd literally, because you won't have the speed a porcupine would have. So you'd literally have to run up and try to
stab them.
Well,
stab it with it.
The good news there is you're probably only going to get one chance to stab whatever this is. So,
yeah.
If you are needing a light weapon, they are only 10 pips. A medium, like a sword or axe, would be 20. Heavy is where you get into the super expensive.
So what would the quill count at? Is it a light or a medium?
Given how nasty porcupine quills are, I would roll it probably as a medium. But you already have them. If you guys said you were carrying them on your belts. So I'm assuming they're still.
Okay, so medium is also a small one. Okay, I have space for that. Cool, I can have one.
But it'd be a one-time use, but it would be painful. Plus, it now has the psychological damage that there's something hanging out of it.
Get him in the nose.
Ooh, yeah.
Ouch.
Yep. Okay, that's all. I just wanted to make sure that we were armed because I think we're gonna need.
Everyone has weapons, and then it looks like I have written down everyone has ranged.
All right, let's go.
Just lack of armor, unless.
Would the bow break after I fire all 3 arrows, or does that just count? Like
only if it has usage marked on it. Does the bow have usage on it?
It does.
I'm trying to. Yep. So you would get 3 shots. We also have ranged lightning damage.
I think the intent behind that is you take it back to a town and you find treasure and you pay someone to repair it, and it's one of the things where it, so
Yes.
Yeah.
The mice cobbleization.
Yeah.
Well, if we need cash, we could trade the beetle. Just letting you guys know.
Well,
if we're desperate.
I think the beetle's pretty useful.
The beetle is a member of our cult.
Plus
we have used beetles to haul back things that you can sell.
That's what I was going to say is we haven't had like a huge haul. We did once. We had one big haul one time. But the worst thing to have happen is to be like, oh, we have so much stuff. Oh, wait, we can't take any of it. And then there's like
we did haul with the scarecrow too, because we hauled back buttons and long strips of flannel and strips of denim.
Yeah.
From the scarecrow, as well as some nails that they used for trade or settling. Or they have a stash too at their place in Old Barn.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a lot of that stuff got left at Old Barn.
But they have a stash there. If we go back.
Okay. Well, then I'm all set. I'm gonna just stay in the back when it comes to combat and just throw some arrows at some people.
All right.
In worst case scenario, Mausritter does also allow for, they don't do as much damage, but it does allow for improvised weapons. So like your bow breaks, you can reach over, grab a stick or a rock next to you and inflict damage. It just won't be as much as your weapon would have been, but it will still hurt.
All right, let's do it. Let's go discover this mythical Stumpsville.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we head back towards the forest. It is overcast today, so not terribly. Where am I looking Not terribly dark. There are murmurings as you leave that another fisherman disappeared last night. His boat has yet to be found, but he never came back in. And some are talking about, well, there's things in the marsh. You never know. Could have been a catfish, but a lot of whispers that it's a mysterious owl that has shown up and has not left now. It's daytime. You do not hear any sign of crows, which you're hoping is a good sign. And you've set off for the forest. You make good time, and you get to the path in the forest. Pearl has her map and her trusty compass. Are you wanting to do anything in the forest while you're here, or are you wanting to head straight over to Stumpville?
Yeah, let's head straight to Stumpville. Not waste any time.
Yeah.
Okay. So you are traveling through the forest to Stumpville. Other than hearing birds singing and jays arguing, and you're pretty sure you caught an angry squirrel in there somewhere, it seems to be a very pleasant day in Jayswood. And you all have the feeling of safety, remembering that with the jays up overhead, it means Mr. Ocox will not be. You travel, you can't really tell what time of day it is because the trees are up, but you're guessing it's around noonish, and you're getting closer to where Pearl's map marks the location of Stumpville. According to his description, it'll be in this area, and you will see a stump. There's some pretty white flowers that are blooming near it right now, but you will not see a large mouse presence outside. There will be gatekeepers there, but no large mouse presence outside. As you approach, you see what appears to be a stump with a strange carpet of moss over twigs on one side that appears to perhaps be a door or a cover of some sort.
Should we knock?
Yeah.
You can?
I knock.
Okay. So you tap at the door, and you think you hear a little shuffling sound, and after a second it swings open, and inside you see Twig and one other mouse dressed similarly, looking up at you, and they motion for you to come in. On the other side, you notice that you can see through the door from the bottom side, but not from the top side. So they were able to see you while all you saw was moss and twigs. The gatekeepers look at you. One is kind of uncertain. The one you met yesterday kind of gives you a smile. No, nods. Hello. I don't believe I formally introduced myself yesterday, but my name is Twig. And I am one of the gatekeepers of Stumpsville. It is my duty to protect and guard our sacred community. And, well, I welcome you. I cannot give a tour as I am on duty today, but we should have a mouse along shortly who can take you to the mice you need to speak to. And very shortly comes along a slightly smaller than normal white mouse, and she is wearing a beautiful outfit made out of fern leaves that appear to be have woven together with grass. She introduces herself as Leaf, She says, "Hello, my name is Leaf, and welcome to Stumpville. I am told by the gatekeepers that you are the newest visitors here. And, well, I have something for you, and if you ever in the future need to come to Stumpville and need entrance without having a gatekeeper expecting you, we have a small token. You must keep this on you. It is not to be given away, or you will be forever barred entrance to Stumpville. Is this understood?"
Absolutely, yes.
Yep.
All right.
I'm sure
With that, she opens a small stack on her waist, and she has these little pine cone pieces, like the little pieces you would have on a pine cone, except they've apparently taken it apart. And on each little woody piece, they have some strange symbols carved into the wood. And she hands each one of you your own little, I don't know what to call it, chunk of pine cone, like your little pine cone stick thing. Keep this on you and keep this safe. If you lose it, you may not be allowed access back into Stumpville unless you are with another mouse who has one, and you are not allowed to admit to any mouse that you do have one. They will either know you have one, or they won't. But this will be your ticket into Stumpville at any time that you need. We do have a lovely place that you can stay while you're here. And are you planning on staying, or are you heading back out today?
Sure we give our names and stuff, or I do at least. But I say, "Hello, I'm Pearl," and why is everything so secretive here? Is everything okay?
Oh, everything is splendid here in Stumpville. It is the way it is, and we have our reasons for it. It works well for our community, and it keeps us safe and structured. And it is the way that has been taught and handed down. We did try once, a while ago, to branch out, and it did not end well.
Oh no.
To ourselves, and we are quite happy, and we have everything we need, so we do not see too much of a reason. But if other mice wish to come and assist our community or help in ways, we are more than willing to do small trade with certain mice, but not large scale, and help as needed. But no, we are not interested at this time in other mouse communities. The goddess has protected our lovely little city, and well, we can introduce you to her in due time as well. But yeah, that's kind of how it is. I do know who you are. The gatekeeper's already introduced all of you, so it is a pleasure to meet you, Oliver and Pearl and Chicory and Goose and Poppy and Cherry and Marigold and Hazel and oh, did I miss it? Oh, and we can have your beetles here too. We have our own internal stable for small little friends with 6 legs that help out, and they have their own accommodations, and you are welcome to go and visit them at any time, or if you are ready to leave for whatever reason, you are welcome to go get them. We do ask that you sign into, and she points to a little booklet paper thing. It appears to be made out of birch. Sign in here near the door so that we can keep track of which mice are in Stumpville at any given time and which mice are not.
We have a rather urgent thing to speak about. Perhaps it should be with your goddess. You see, we noticed that you have a close companionship with the blue jays, and they seem to also be an important part of your community. But the blue jays have had a problem with squirrels stealing their food, and we have a solution, but we need help in order to implement this solution.
Oh, well, can't speak for our goddess. You would have to speak to the priestess, Sugar, about that. But the mice that I will be introducing you today will be able to answer questions about our lovely community and point you in the direction that you would need to go, or to who you would need to talk to do anything. I am simply a humble helper of our community. She gives a little bob.
A dormouse.
But I can take you to where you will be staying, and I will gladly introduce you to the next mouse to whom you'll be speaking. And again, welcome to our humble community of Stubville.
There are so many rules here.
It's like Brambly Hedge, except it's like smaller scale, and it feels, I don't know why, but it just feels like they're hiding something. But I was just like, I trust it's like nothing dangerous. At the same time, I was like, what are they hiding? Why?
This is like if anybody would get this reference, this is kind of like Bossing Say.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, a little bit.
There's gonna be so many secrets here.
Oh yes.
we should be careful because and I hate to say this, but in a lot of ways this reminds me of Greyhouse.
Oh God.
The plot twist is Mr. Alcos controls his town. This is his roost thing. Oh, that would be We've made plans against the wrong enemy. It was not the mice, it was the squirrels. We should be alive.
Well, I suppose we should follow and meet these other people. They seem nice. Other mice, not people.
Yeah, they're people too. Mice are people too.
Well,
Yeah, I
as
guess
soon as you all sign your names in the little birch book, Leaf happily escorts you out down a little chamber and takes a left turn, and this is where you notice the stump opens up, and instead of being a small hallway, you can see that the inside is quite hollow, and for light, you're not sure what it is glowing, but they have little glowing dots scattered around on the ceiling of the stump, and you can see inside is a thriving mouse community. Not anywhere near as big as Brambly Hedge or even the Greyhouse colony, but it is a rather nice sized colony. You estimate about the size or maybe slightly larger than Cherry Grove. Quite a few houses and whatnot built into little nooks and crannies, and a couple larger mouse buildings down below made of beautifully woven fern and ivy around sticks, and what looks like little bits of tree root that they've used as well. It all looks very intricate and beautifully done. She leads you down a flight of stairs and around a few twists and turns, past a couple buildings. The mice here all are dressed very nicely, but not fancy like Brambly Hedge, where it was like this pretentious, fancy. But it's more simply of forest materials. You noticed ivy leaves or ash leaves. Different leaves from outside are sewn or woven into dresses or attire for the mice.
Like these Stumpsville mice are like wood elves, and Bramley Hedge is more of the uppity high elves.
Yeah.
Who like their crafts. Okay. I would hate to see this poor stump when it rains real hard.
They've got to have a way to
Maybe-
drain it, or like let the water run
Yeah.
out.
They also must have a way to defend it. And maybe that's their air force. But they can't just keep these secrets and live like this without being a force in some way.
She leads you into one specific little building, which once you enter, you see it's actually bigger inside than it looked because it is built down into the ground a little bit. This is the Fig and Basil Tavern, a place where a lot of the mice will come to eat or socialize. Gatekeepers will come after shift to relax a bit or have some good food. It's quite a pleasant, cozy atmosphere. You feel at rest immediately, and the air is just has this sweet, amazing smell. You're not quite sure what it is, but it smells so good, mixed with herbs, some of which you've had before and some of which are unfamiliar. And it just overall has this cozy, at-home feel.
Nice.
She leads you over to a table where another mouse is waiting. This mouse is sitting and apparently working on, with a little feather quill, is working on a stack of birch papers. Appears to be an important and busy little mouse. Leaf clears her throat and says, Ginger, I brought the new visitors for you. And this little brown mouse looks up and smiles and says, yes. Would you go let Sassafras know that we need a spot of tea brought to table 9? And she bids that you all join her for a seat as Leaf disappears into the kitchen.
I guess Oliver would do like a fanciful bow and then grab a seat.
I reach out my paw. What's your name? My name is Pearl.
And she reaches out. Oh, well, what a beautiful name, and gives you a gentle but firm shake back. My name is Ginger, and I welcome you to my humble establishment. This is the Fig and Basil Tavern, where if you spend overnights here, I'm sure you will become familiar with. We also serve quite a variety of foods, and well, for a certain price or a favor, information is also to be had, as I understand you may be searching for.
Yes. Yes, we're looking for information on a beast that could threaten an owl.
Well, we have several creatures in our wood that would be more than capable of that. The risk lies in the fact that they may also be a threat to mice as well.
Well,
as does risk we're willing to take.
We're getting somewhat used to that risk. This beast is one that can climb trees, though. Our source tells us that it would chase off an owl or scare it away by climbing a tree.
Well, I do know a few that would fit the description, and I would gladly give you information about them, though some I might caution you about more than others. But in exchange for this information, it would need to be agreed upon that you could return a favor for our community or have something of value to trade us for it.
Well, we came here, in fact, thinking we might actually have a way that we could help Stumpsville. And we noticed that you ride the Blue Jays, but the Blue Jays are having trouble with their food, and we think if we can drive off the owl, it will actually help the Blue Jays with their food.
Well, as for food, they will have enough, though they do quite worry about their little acorn collections, it is true, and stress about those squirrels. And she just kind of shakes her head and rolls her eyes a bit. But yes, we
can
do
get
have
rid of
new
the squirrels. Yeah. Yes.
You could make them leave.
Yes.
And go back where they came from. Well, unless I'm mistaken, that would potentially involve quite a bit of danger to it, don't you think?
Yes.
At this point, we're already in danger, so this is more like accepting more danger to get us out of danger, if that makes any sense.
No.
Well, we can stay in danger, or could be more in danger to be less in danger.
What were you saying, Glenn?
Oh, I was saying just to put this on the table. We did come here with a proposition, sort of, from Creekside. To see if the Creekside and the wood mice of Stumpswell could possibly not really open borders, as that seems like that's not going to be a very agreed upon thing, but maybe establish some sort of small trade. I mean, that might help out. That might be a big enough favor.
You're open to the trade for some more sweet things like honey, for instance?
Oh, we have all the sweetness we need here. Well, thanks to our goddess, we are quite blessed with it, and it is true once other mice taste it, it is hard for them to ever forget or quit longing for it. However, most do not adhere to the sacredness that can come with it. I won't say trade is completely off the table, though our priestess would have to agree to it, and well, we would need something very valuable in return to part with our sweet syrup.
What about something salty to add to the sweetness?
Well, there is something we do need, but it would be very hard to come by. And I believe from the sources that I've heard that you may actually have better access to it than we. However, it could involve going behind the back of those precious little mice at Brambly Hedge. Would you be willing to risk their ire to set up a trade with us?
What is it that you want?
There is a special herb that grows in the garden that cannot be found in our forest. It is a very beautiful medicinal herb. And when we have mice who are sick here, there are some who cannot recover, but would have if we had access to it. Due to a major falling out with Brambly Hedge, we cannot access it at all. But given your position so close at Old Barn, we feel that you may be able to acquire it from the garden for us.
Well,
if you were to acquire a couple chamomile plants with the root intact and bring it to us, we would grant you syrup trade with Creekside if that is what you desire for such a valuable favor.
Okay, out of character. Did you guys see this chamomile? Is this like some sacred artifact that the high elves keep in like their altar or something?
No, but I think it's one of those things where, because Bramley Hedge is like, we can facilitate trade, but you can't facilitate trade for something where a place has specialty, and so it's probably what we'd ever heard of it, but it's probably in a place where like, oh, this place produces it, or it's like, because it's the
we have to steal it.
Yeah.
The laborers from Brambly Head mentioned there was a lot of fresh produce and herbs in the raised garden beds.
Are they lacking in
New
anything?
House.
Yeah.
Brambly Hedge? Not particularly, though they were they may potentially be interested in something, but there is a major... I don't know what they would be interested in. They didn't really tell anything they needed.
In the mail trade.
Yeah, they were interested in the mail.
Oh, not like, they're not hurting on beetles.
I just also realized we probably can't set up a mail trade here because these mice are so secretive. They don't want to. Like, they can maybe we could set up like a secret message service, but like that's something else different. But
oh, what is it called? Like the hobo sign language that we could just they could teach us and send it across, and they could have secret societies. Do they have honey? Bramley Hedge? I'm trying to think of a way we could do
Greyhouse,
this
like
legit.
the new Greyhouse colony, we're able to have honey. That's why we're trying to set up like trade for it, because that's Greyhouse's new specialty thing. So Greyhouse has it, but the thing is that this Stumsville sounds like they don't really want it, or like they haven't tried it, but they're satisfied with the thing they have.
Yeah, they already have it. I was thinking. Okay. What if we? What a horrible quest chain that we're on here. Before we plan to just outright steal the chamomile, what if we just go and talk to the Brambley Hedge elders with this proposition, and we can somehow set up a 4-way trade? Like, they can have mail posts in like Creekside and Greyhouse, and Stumpsville gets the chamomile from them, and we got to see what else Stumpsville has like in return. Maybe they can teach them like some better like tactics in defense. Maybe like I don't know.
They have an
That
Air
sounds-
Force. I mean, that would be huge, but
Yeah.
That sounds nice, but the thing is, the whole thing with Stumsville is like they want like, oh, this is a secret, can't tell anyone about us. So if we were
That's
to
true,
go
too.
to Brambley Hedge, they
That's
would
right. Yeah, I think we would have to choose to do something unscrupulous here.
Is Stumpsville interested in trading their sweet syrup for the chamomile, though?
What they're saying is that if you will go and sneak a couple chamomile plants with herb attached, it could be like the small little offshoots of a chamomile plant with the root attached, and you can sneak it over to them in Stumpsville.
So
they will be willing to trade sugar with Creekside in small amounts.
Creekside, but what about directly to Brambley Hedge? They don't want to deal with Brambley Hedge.
They don't want to deal with Brambley Hedge.
Well, the trait. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What about? They said that they would answer about these creatures.
They said they will answer your any questions. So she's saying she will give you access to any information about the forest creatures that she or any of the others know, in exchange for like a promise or a guarantee that the squirrel problem will be dealt with.
Oh. Well, it will, or else we'll be dead anyway. So that's no problem. I say that we shelve the trade route thing. We don't want to betray Brambley Hedge. You know, we can get back to that, but we'll assure them that the squirrels will be dealt with in 2 months' time, and because we'll have removed the owl, and one way or another, we're going to remove the owl, or we're going to probably die trying, because Greyhouse depends on us. So it'll take 2 months, and the squirrels will be gone. So yeah.
Well, if you can give me this guarantee that they will either leave or you will find a way to make them leave in 2 months' time, then I will answer any questions you have about these creatures.
Well, you said there were several creatures that could climb a tree to chase off an owl. What creatures are those?
Indeed, we have a few creatures in Jayswood that are capable of such a feat. We have the coons, but I would definitely urge cautious with this creature. They are more likely to eat you than not, and they do not seem to abide by such agreements as we mice would hold dear. They may go after an owl if it suited them, but as for such a way to negotiate with such a thing, I don't know.
Okay.
We avoid them if at all possible. They are not very pleasant.
Okay.
And it is not unusual to see them in a group, which presents its own problem.
All right. What other ones?
Well, the other one shall prove interesting. We do have this creature. We have a fox that resides in our wood. She may be more willing to be persuaded as she is a mother. However, we have not seen her for a bit of time. We are not quite sure what happened to her. All we know is that she was on the side of the woods and had gone slightly to the north of Creekside, I suppose, by your maps. She often goes up there to hunt, and well, I suppose her selves right now, but if you were to find her, she may be willing to help if you had the right leverage. Granted, you would have to make sure negotiations started out on the right foot so she did not bring you back as food. But that's assuming something hasn't happened to her.
Okay.
Outside of that, we have our jays, but they don't leave Stumpswood much, and they protect our forest during the daytime. If your crow friends have not driven them off, I highly doubt our jays would do the same, as he would simply find them a nuisance. The other creature we have, I think, is not worth mentioning, as it would likely eat you just as much as talk to you. He's not too close to us, but far to the northeast. Quite a distance away, actually, which is why we don't live over there. But he's quite a cranky creature, a wolverine, I believe. Your best bet may be with a fox. Again, provided you find proper leverage. But like I said, you would have to find her, as our gatekeepers have not spotted her at her den for some time now. And it is unusual for her to leave her kits alone for this long.
We assure you that we will solve the squirrel problem. And then and then Pearl just holds her face in her hands.
Marigold's giving her the side eye because we've been on a squirrel jihad for like a month now.
Now, that said, I am sure you are all quite exhausted from your travels, and if you wish to stay, since you are engaged in business with us and doing favors with us at present, you are welcome to stay and enjoy food here at the tavern. Again, do not lose your tokens for entry, because those are quite valuable and hard to come by, and should you need quick entrance, you simply tap on the twigs and drop your token through a slot in the twigs, and you will be granted immediate access.
Well, thank you. Yes, we'll take the room. How much is a room here?
Well, again, given that you are currently conducting business actively with us, you will not be charged at present. If you were just to
that's
come and
lovely.
drop by, well, then there would be some matter of fee, but as long as you are actively engaged in business with us, then we will treat you as a guest and a visitor here. If you need anything, be sure to let me know. I would caution you about going into the lower levels uninvited, as some of those spaces are quite sacred to our community. But can be arranged. I'm sure you met our lovely little Leaf earlier, and she is quite good at getting messages around and making connections. She does pop into the tavern quite regularly, and if you need to speak with her, feel free to ask. I myself am well versed in procedures here, and if you need anything, be sure to let me know.
Thank you so much.
Now, your rooms are right down, and she points towards a set of stairs at one end of the counter where the kitchen is. She says, if you follow that little set of stairs down, you will find rooms. We do not have many guests right now, but all of the rooms on the left side, I believe there are 4, are for your use. There are 3 bunks in each, and you may decide who is staying where.
Top bunk. There we go, top bunk.
Due to recent events, Jerry will be more than happy to have the bottom bunk.
Poor Jerry. Mythic Mountains RPG is a private online play club that focuses on folk RPGs. Folk RPGs are the games that belong to all of us. They're what actually happens at a table between friends. It's their voice that has the authority on what is fun and what works for them. Weekly, we upload our games to allow others to sit in with us. The channel isn't monetized. We don't own the artwork, music, software, or games shown in these actual plays, and you can find links to their authors in the description. Like, subscribe, and share if you wish, or don't. Just like games in person, you're welcome to pull up a chair, sit in, and watch some of our games. No performances, no fancy equipment, just regular people playing folk pencil and paper role-playing games and having a good time. We hope these games will prove a source of enjoyment to anyone just wanting to listen in, anyone looking for examples of how actual groups run and play folk RPGs, and most importantly, if you haven't found your group yet, you're welcome here at ours.